Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to be joined with boxing coach Azza. Yes, how are you, mate?
Good, my brother. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, so we'll talk about the fighters you've got. Of course, OB Ebenike's fighting for the vacant Southern Area title this Friday against Jordan Dijon on the Wasserman show.
Yep. Good fight. The boys have shared the ring together beforehand, before Obi was part of our setup. I think Dijon just nicked it, I think, by a couple of rounds. I've seen bits and pieces of the fight. But yeah, they go again for something a bit more meaningful this time on a better platform. So, yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, what? So you thought that Jordan won that first fight because Obi thought he won that one?
I don't have an opinion on it to it. I've seen bits and pieces. Obviously, we're now fighting Dijon, so we've done some video stuff, and that's one of the fights we've looked at. But I haven't sat and scored it as a from a judge's point of view. I'm just looking at stuff, just looking more at Dijon rather than what the result of the fight was. It's irrelevant, isn't it? So it was a while ago, and now they're getting back into the ring. They're both going to be fighting for something a little bit better than what they did before. This is a new fight, so yeah, it should be a good one.
Do you
Thing is,
think?
they're both in. Go on, mate.
I was going to say, do you think OB's improved since his last time we saw him against Lee Cutler?
Big improvements. Big improvements. Obviously, that was the first proper fight that I was working with Obi with. We fell just a little bit short. Props to Cutler. He was actually better at a few things. One, we were in there than what we thought he would be. But yeah, big improvement since he's been in the ring with Cutler. So yeah, we're ready to go, man. Camp's gone well, sparring's gone well. He's on weight, looking sharp, ready to do a job.
And what does it mean to you guys fighting for the Southern Area?
Uh, well, every fight is important, isn't it? When you're fighting for a title, obviously it's got that little bit of extra meaning to it. More than just fighting for the title, he'll get him back on winning ways. He'll have a belt. He'll then be in control of a title, which should allow him to elevate himself back to hopefully that kind of English level where I think that he belongs.
Mm. Does it? Of course, it's on Wasserman. Does the winner get a contract with Wasserman or no?
Nah, I wouldn't have thought so, mate. I'm not sure how Osman run their business, but um, it's just an undercard filler, to be honest. It's a good fight. There's history. I think they've looked at it and gone, this will
Show
be a
stealer, in my opinion.
yeah. I think it's going to be a good fight. Listen, Dujon's no idiot. He's only lost to high level opponents.
Mm.
Rod and Ross down at RJ's know what they're doing, so they got a good stable of fighters. So we're expecting his toughest fight to date, 100%.
Do you guys think it'll be tougher than the first fight?
Yeah, of course, it's got to be tougher than the first fight. For one, it's over 10 rounds. Two, they definitely both matured. They're both going to be better than what they were when they first fought. And it's on a bigger platform. It's for a title. It can't not be a better and more competitive ruling bout.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah, you've got the return of Mitchell. He's fighting June 15th.
Yep. So obviously Mitch came back a couple of years ago now. Had a six rounders return, unfortunately. Had a horrible motorbike incident where he snapped his ankle. And it looked like that was it for him there. Recently decided that he was going to get into coaching actually, and I think just being in around the gym and the other pros again just gave him that little bit of feeling that he still had a little bit left in the tank, and he wanted to give it one last go at it. So yeah, he was obviously a little bit heavy when we started, but he's down. He's down in weight again. He's floated around sort of mid 70 kilos. We're going to start sparring next week, and yeah, he's going to come back. He's just going to have a couple of tick over fights. There's no rush. There's no pressure on him. He's going to have a couple of fours and probably a six and see where the land lies with the rest of the division. But he's definitely going to be in some big fights. He can't not be.
What's his current record at the moment? Isn't he unbeaten?
Nah, so he's not unbeaten. So he lost to Jupp. Can't remember how many years ago now. which is his only loss. I think he's 18-1, maybe 17-1. I'm not sure. You'd have to box rec that up, but yeah, he's only got one loss. And obviously, I don't need to sit here and blow smoke up his ass about what he did previously and how much he's achieved during the sport. But yeah, he'll be back again, and I know we're going to share some big nights. He's in the gym every day. He's taking it seriously, and he's too good not to be in good fights in the next 18 months. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on his journey, mate.
So June the 15th, is his sort of comeback fight,
Yeah,
to
it's just
get the
going to be a
sort of
journeyman.
cobwebs off sort of thing?
Yeah, it's just going to be a journeyman. He'll probably fight just over the super lightweight limit, I imagine, and then slowly over the next 12 months work his way down back to super feather.
Also, is that his natural weight, would you say?
He's a super featherweight, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. You've got Ollie Duffy on July 6th. You can't announce where and who it was
Mm.
against, who's it's against, but he was meant to fight Yashir Al Gainer. That was meant
Yeah,
to
so
be in
yeah.
March. Did he get injured or what happened?
He had a problem with his medical. Um, don't want to discuss it. It's obviously personal to Oles. Um, if I told you what it was, you wouldn't believe me. He passed all of his brain scan, his bloods, his eyes, the actual medical itself, and then something popped up from somewhere else, and we just didn't have enough time to get the documentation that they were asking us for, and that was
Yeah.
it. We were just left in a position where we had no choice but to medically withdraw from the fight, which is obviously very frustrating. A lot of hard work, a lot of hard, tough sparring rounds all around the country with Harlem Eubank and Luke McCormack, to name a few. Camp went really well, and yeah, it just got taken away from us. But who knows? Maybe at some point down the line, that's a fight that potentially may happen again.
Mm. Well, fingers crossed. Yeah, is it not to give too much away, but is it a 50-50 fight that Ollie's in July 6th?
Yes. Yeah, he's in with 50-50. I can tell you he's fighting a kid called Rashid Omar. He's a kid from Wales.
6-0,
Um,
I think. I've heard of
yeah,
him.
yeah, good lad. Southpaw, so tricky. I think he won a Welsh, maybe Welsh
He Welsh
champion.
champion, yeah.
Welsh champion, yeah. So it's looking like that's going to be the opponent. I'm not going to say any more details on the show because the promotion hasn't announced it yet.
Mm.
I think they're going to be announcing it next week, maybe. So yeah, that'll be made
Oh,
public knowledge then.
I'll keep my eyes peeled on that then. I think Omar's fighting on a Nielsen show this Saturday though.
Is he? Yeah.
Or
Oh, up in Swindon.
Swindon. I might have to double
Mm.
check that quickly though.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you might be right.
Rashid Omar, hang on. Yeah, he is. He's fighting somebody called Miguel Zamora over 4 rounds.
Okay, yeah. Maybe. When was the last time he boxed? Maybe he just needs a little tick over before we.
I think he boxed in, I think it might have been May where he won his title last year.
Okay. Yes, he's been out of the ring for a little bit himself.
Mm. But yeah. Then of course Jerome Campbell was meant to fight Levi Giles, but Levi withdrew with an injury. Is that a fight that hopefully can get rescheduled?
We are looking into it. However, I just don't think the time frame for where we are now to Levi's recovery and the other stuff going on in our schedule is likely to allow that to be the next fight. We are in discussions with somebody else for Jerome in another 50-50. Good fight. We'll have to go away again. Hopefully for a final eliminator of some sorts. Nothing been agreed yet. We're having a meeting with Jerome's manager next week. So hopefully he will be out sometime in June is the aim. But it won't be against Levi Giles, unfortunately, and it won't be for a title.
Mm. I mean, he did beat um Adam Razul, is it, in his last fight in December at
Mm.
York Hall? That was, I
Mm.
thought that was an English eliminator.
It was, yeah. So yeah, it wasn't a final. It was just an English eliminator. And we tried to lobby Jerome to be mandatory for the English with Gomez Jr. And the board decided that they went with
Baker.
Kane Baker instead, who is fighting this Saturday. So yeah, we'll have our eyes on that fight for sure. And hopefully at some point, if it's not the next fight, which doesn't look like it's going to be, if we can go and win a final eliminator of some sorts, hopefully we can become mandatory for the English in his next one. Or failing that, if Levi recovers in time and everything goes well in the next fight, we can perhaps box Levi for the Silver Commonwealth at the end of the year.
So are you for Jerome this year? Is it about, starting to pick these belts up, English sort of Commonwealth sort of?
Yeah, well, when Jerome first came back, the aim was to always box for titles. He had 2 comeback fights, had his eliminator. And it's a bit unfortunate, really, just the way that the land lied with the titles, specifically the area title, was already being competed for.
Webber
With
Kane and
Webber Kane
Caswell.
and Caswell, which is a good fight. And then obviously now Webber Kane is boxing, I think he's defending it against somebody else. And perhaps for an eliminator there. I'm not sure what's going on. The land just didn't lie for us to box for the area title. And then obviously we tried to fight for the English and that didn't come off. We then got the fight for the Commonwealth and unfortunately Levi got injured. But yeah, by the end of this year, I think Jerome definitely needs to be fighting for a title. I think he's 33 now. So time is not coming to an end, but we're coming to the point of his career where he has to be in meaningful fights now. And that's what we're going to trying to achieve.
Yeah, and if you look, and if people didn't know, his only defeat comes by Nick Ball. I mean, in my opinion, Nick Ball should be the current WBC champion, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jerome wasn't with us. I think that actually, I don't even think Jerome had a coach for that fight, He had a previous coach and then lockdown came. And obviously there was no small hall boxing.
How
And I
long
think
have you been with him?
I've had 3 fights with Jerome. Yeah, so we've had 2 comeback fights and then his eliminator. Yeah, so this next fight would be our 4th fight. It's been about 2 years. He had unfortunately burst his eardrum after his first comeback fight, which kept us out the ring for a little while, which halted his progress slightly. But now we're fully back on the horse now, and he's ready to go. See, Jerome's always training anyway. Even when he was injured, he's always in shape. He's always doing his S&C and his conditioning and his boxing sessions. So he's a pleasure to work with, to be honest.
You've also got Nathan Brown, who I believe's 2-0.
Nathan Brown, yes, the future superstar. He's actually injured as well at the minute. He got a slight hand injury when he boxed Pollard in his last fight. So yeah, he's just taking a little bit of time off. Hopefully he'll be back punching again in the next few weeks. And he should be out hopefully in July. I'd say June, July should. He'll be out in another 6-rounder.
Because on BoxRec, I sent you something. It said he was fighting June 23rd in Harrow, I think.
Yeah, so we had him penciled in for that show, and unfortunately had to withdraw him from that because of his hand. It was just slightly worse than what we anticipated after he went and got it checked out after the Pollard fight. But he's fine. He's training every day. He's doing all these bits and pieces. He will be out, like I say, sort of mid-year, July time, I would guess, in another 6-rounder. And then potentially one more. And then I want to push him on to fight for the area, to be honest. The super flyweight division is pretty thin. So it's not stacked with lots of fighters, especially at that level. So, yeah, he's going to be...
Yeah, because once you've had like 3-5 fights, then you're sort of in area sort of contention when you're in like the lower weight sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the title fights that have happened, 4 or 5 fights, they're fighting for area titles. Yeah, to be honest, I think it should, if you're good enough, I think you should be pushed. And he is good enough. There's no point in him going 10-0, boxing 10 bums and not learning anything from it, and then having to step up and going, oh, what's this kind of thing. So Yeah, he's ready. He's good enough anyway. There's no one around area and English level that I wouldn't feel fully confident in him winning against. So,
Because
to be honest, we did try and make a few 50-50s for his next fight, of which I think six were offered to six different fighters that were all 5-0 plus, and they all said no, thank you.
what so area sort of level at the moment?
Area level, yeah. So people that should really be pushing on to start taking some better fights and some more competitive fights. One of them was potentially going to be for the area title in his fourth fight, and they didn't want to do it. So
I mean,
it is
Jack
what it is.
Jack was meant to be boxing, wasn't he? And then he retired. He was meant to be boxing Georgie Ellis, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah, he was. Yeah, so I think Georgie and Jack were supposed to be boxing for the area, and then Jack got offered a fight in America, of which he was obviously buzzing about, and then it was pulled away from him. They changed their mind, and then I think Jack just didn't quite have the motivation to put his body and mind through what was needed to go into a fight with someone like Georgie. Well, I feel fully confident that Jack would have been able to put enough onto Georgie to force potentially a stoppage or get the better of the second half of a 10-round fight.
Who was he meant to fight in America?
I can't remember the kid's name, to be honest. It was no one of note. It was a Cuban guy. You'd have to ask Jack, you'll know. Yeah, by the time we sort of started having a look at him, it was pulled away from him. So, and I think just from there, he just didn't have it. He just didn't have it mentally anymore. Which is once you start feeling that it's not there, you got to pull away from it, because it's too dangerous a place to be without being 100%.
Mm. I mean, you had I think it was maybe two fights you had with Jack overall. I think you fought
Now, three fights. We had he boxed Pollard at on the Peacock
Canning
show.
Town,
Then he boxed
Jackson, Sean
Jackson,
Jackson,
Sean Jackson at Harrow, and then
Lewis
we went
Roberts.
up to Swindon and took the bat against Lewis. Yeah,
What was
which
your thoughts on that fight with Lewis Roberts?
I think you can give reason for either of the boys winning by a round. Jack started slow. Lewis was a lot bigger on the day than we expected him to be, and it took a little bit of time for Jack to find his distance and his rhythm. Of which, when he did, felt like we started getting on top. Um, Obviously, Lewis suffered some horrendous cuts. I think there were three in total. So, and then one on his lip, which was really bad. So the fight did have to be stopped. We got no qualms about that. And to be honest, it is what it is. Listen, we knew when we were going away, you have to go and win a fight like that. Lewis had 400 plus fans shouting his name. We're obviously on a Nielsen show, and it was going to be tough. It was going to be tough. I feel like if the fight hadn't been stopped, I think we would have won the fight. I think the last two rounds, Jack was coming on really strong. Lewis started fading, didn't have a lot left. Of course, the cuts would have played a big part of that as well. So if Lewis hadn't have got cut, hadn't have started panicking and whatever else, we may not have got on top of the fight in the second half. But that's how it was. I've got no qualms about the result, to be honest. I've watched the fight back a couple of times.
Where have you watched it? Because I've been looking for it, and if I'm honest, I've
Yeah,
only seen a
one
few
of the
clips because
fans
of
that
Jack's Instagram.
yeah, so one of the someone that came to watch Jack just filmed it from ringside. So it's no official footage. Yeah, no official, but good enough to have a watch and to determine whether it was a correct outcome or not. Which, to be honest, it is what it is. Like I said, a round either way to either lad, I think was fair.
But yeah, would you? Of course, Jack's like was a similar weight to Nathan. Maybe Nathan could be in those fights with Georgie Ellis or stuff like that. You know.
Uh, maybe, maybe. Listen, like I said, I would put Nathan in with anybody, Georgie, and anyone else around that type of level and experience, we would take those fights. Whether they would take those fights with Nathan is another story altogether.
Or would
Uh,
you, if you couldn't find a like an area title, would you go for like an English or?
listen, it is opponent dependent. He's still learning. He was obviously a very good amateur. Took a little bit of time out. He had a horrendous injury. Took 5 years out of boxing, which included obviously some time through COVID. And he's back. He's had 2 fights this year. We're hopefully going to get him out at least another 2 times, preferably 3 times this year with another 2 6 rounders. And then you're looking at December/February, I would say, depending on what shows are available, for him to box for a title. So, but we'll easily make him mandatory for the Southern area. He'll either fight for a vacant or he'll fight whoever's got it
Mm,
without a problem.
yes. And Colo Cujo, is that how you say it?
Collar Coelho.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry, it's not my name. It's a handful. It's a mouthful, we know. So Collar, where'd you start? So he was previously part of the gym a little while ago. Took some time off, and then he's just made a decision to come back to boxing now. And in my opinion, one of the most dangerous fighters in the country. I'm going to leave it at that. Just he should be out hopefully June, July as well in a 6 rounder. Hasn't boxed for a little while. But yeah, he's hopefully going to be at title level at super middle or light heavyweight. But very, very exciting fighter. Huge puncher. Very, very violent, dangerous man. So yeah, he's definitely one to stick on your watch list. And I'll keep you updated about his progression.
Yes. And before I let you go, do you want to say, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Anything else? Well, other than that horrendous top that you've been wearing through the interview, trying to throw me off, I think that's it. Big shout out to my little junior female amateur. She's going to be a future champion as well, Freya Chamberlain. Yeah, she's one to look out for the future as well. She's only 16. This is her second season. She's been boxing anyone who is available. She doesn't shy away from anybody. Mixed results so far. She's been in the ring with, I think, 6 or 7 national champions. And a lot of these girls are sitting here trying to protect their records, which is going to set her in great stead for when we're entering into sort of second year youth and senior level. But yeah, definitely that's a name to remember, mate. And obviously, big shout out to Josh and his boys. He's got a couple of lads out, May the 18th. Brandon Lewis is the light heavyweight. I think maybe she's going to be second fight with Josh. Maybe he's 4th or 5th as a pro. And Ellison, Albanian lad who's just turned over from the amateurs, just had his debut over in Spain. He's going to be fighting in May as well, I think. So yeah, those two are definitely two to look out for. And the rest of Josh's squad, he's rebuilding a good, young, fresh, strong squad of boxers that you're gonna be seeing regularly active over the next 18 months. So, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Well, how did you like start to get into coaching?
So, that's a question. So, my wife actually signed me up for a charity fight about 15 years ago. Out of the blue, we went to watch one of our friends box, and I think in a drunken state they were coming around with clipboards and basically threw my details down. And at the time, I'd done a little bit of boxing when I was a kid at Finchley, not for long, but enough to know sort of what's what. And I just jumped in, and from there I had about 12 or 13 fights, and then through injury and whatever else, just couldn't do it anymore, and decided that I wanted to stay in the sport. I've always loved the sport, even when I wasn't part of it. from a fan perspective, and started coaching on the unlicensed scene. To be honest, there was a couple of lads, and then there was a lad that wanted to turn pro, and yeah, so sort of went and got my license from there.
Who
And
was your first pro boxer you had?
the first pro boxer, well, a lad called Reese. He was the lad that was going to turn over from the white collar stuff. Managed to get his license, and then actually never had his debut.
Oh,
Yeah, a couple of nonsense fights were pulled, and then sort of struggled to do the tickets and stuff. Similar story for a lot of the youngsters out there. But the
how
first
far do you think
actual,
he could have gone?
he could have got area level. He was a talented kid, strong southpaw. Definitely think he could have competed at area level. But the actual first pro corner I did as a head coach was Mitchell.
Mitchell Smith.
Yeah, that was my first corner. Yeah, that
What
was my
fight was
first
that
corner.
one?
In his first comeback fight, which was in Watford a couple of years ago, 2022, I want to say.
Mm.
So yeah,
And you've been in and you've cornered a few title fights as well.
yeah, we've been involved in a few good title fights. Obviously, Josh had Baluta, so I was involved in the corner doing the cut work for Baluta on those occasions. And then Josh took a little bit of time off, and I was the head in the corner for Baluta versus Kane, which was a
That
very
was a
exciting fight.
war.
Very exciting fight to be involved in. 2 minutes into round one, I'm standing there with a towel in my hand, thinking, "Oh my god, what is going on?" Ready to pull him out.
Yeah, because it started to the first round. I think he got dropped. Was it twice or once?
Had him down twice in the first round, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought this is not a great start, and it looked like it was going to be over before it began.
Mm.
But Baluti's one hard little man. He's one hard little man. You can never write him off.
And then
Massive
his
tools.
fight with McCann as well was.
Yeah, so yeah, I've done Eaton Blue. Decided to move back to Spain. I think he liked the sun a bit too much to stay in this
Mm.
miserable country. So yeah, he was training over there. Then he come over and he asked if I would do his corner and do his cuts, and that was obviously a really good fight. Really back and forth, close fight. Strange because I like Dennis. I know Dennis got a lot of time for him, and it was a weird one to be in the opposite corner, sort of wanting him to lose, but not really wanting him to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm going to be Team Baluta because he's been part of our camp for a few years, and I'm in his corner, desperate for him to win. And but yeah, it was a strange one. Obviously, the cut was pretty horrendous for Dennis.
Mm. Do you think,
Which
even though you don't coach Beluta anymore, would you still like to watch that fight if they had a rematch?
well, I've been told potentially that is going to be happening for the European title.
Who do you
So
think would get that one?
it's such a tough fight. I think if they fought 10 times, they'd probably win half each. I think they're both capable of doing a number on each other, depending on which version of the fighter turns up. It's just so difficult to be in a ring with Baluta. It's just so difficult. He doesn't stop. He punches in fives and sixes. He's got the best engine you'll ever see.
Weren't you in his corner when he beat Foster as well, though?
Yes, yeah. So Josh done.
Josh was his coach with that fight, though.
Yeah, I done his cuts in that corner. Yeah, that was a horrible fight, to be honest. That was Foster was holding, and there wasn't much room to do any quality work. That was a frustrating fight to be in, but it's a winning game, isn't it? And he got the win, so
Mm.
that's all that matters. That's all that matters. But yeah, I think not Kane, Dennis and Baluta will be sharing the ring again sometime soon.
Do
Of
you
which I
think?
don't know.
Do
I don't know
you
if I'll be
believe?
involved in that or not. We'll see.
Do you believe that do you think that they could become a world champion?
Um, oh, that's a tough question. That's a hard question. Well, I don't think that who's the current. Is it Inoue?
I think
Think
so, but I thought he might have gone up to super bantam, hasn't he, to fight Neri or what?
Well, they are at super bantam.
Oh yeah, sorry, yes. Anyway, sorry. I was thinking. I don't know what I was. I was thinking Liam Davis had a belt, didn't he? IBO.
He's just won the IBO, Liam Davis. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
he is.
so Inue's got the rest,
Yeah, he is a good fighter. Him.
and Liam Davis has got the IBO.
Yes. Yeah. So when you look at the current stamp of world champions, do I think that either of them could beat them in the next 3 fights? No. Do I think that Frank can maneuver a path for Dennis to get himself in a position where he fought for um, a vacant title against a good opponent, potentially? You got to think Dennis is also still very young. I don't
But
think.
also, Inoue, if he keeps beating everyone at, because he beat everyone at bantam, and if he doesn't really need to do much at super bantam, because I mean, Neri and sort of Davis are the fights there, and
He'll
then
probably move up to feather, yeah.
and he might as well move up to feather, so those titles could become vacant in the next 12 months or
Well,
so.
there you go. Yeah, listen, anybody can win a vacant world title, is the truth. If you've got the right promotion behind you and you sell enough, then anyone of those people can be drafted in for a vacant world title. And I wish them the best. Like I said, I like Dennis. He's a good lad and he's a good fighter. And I wish him all the best. And obviously, I want the best for Blue. I'd love to be involved in a world title fight with him. She had a lot of time together, a lot of ups and downs. So that would be a lovely way to sign off his career and our time together.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, thank you for your time, mate, and good luck with OB on Friday. I was gonna say Saturday, but it's Friday.
Yeah, Friday. No worries, my bro. And when's your birthday?
In June 23rd.
All right, perfect. I'll get you an Arsenal top so
No,
you can look pucker in our next interview.
no, never.
All right, little bro. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll speak soon. All right.
But yeah, mate, thank you for your time. Bye. Good luck with Obi, mate.
Nice one, Sam. Speak soon.